She had on a pair of shorts and a red T-shirt.
She blonde hair, black hair?
No, she's got reddish-brown hair. It's actually a brown with an auburn tint to it.
What's her name?
It's short. Her name is Maddie. Honey, Maddie is gone.
Viewer discretion is advised for this educational documentary.
You see 180 pounds of blood here.
Welcome back to Case Documentaries. I bring you true crime, disturbing stories and other things that you may later regret knowing with regular uploads every week. Please do join the quickly growing Dark Case family by hitting subscribe now and turning on notifications. Thank you so much for choosing to be here with me. Our love and respect goes out to those that knew and loved Maddie. 1998 to me seems like yesterday. It saw the release of Titanic, the first movie to ever gross over $1 billion. Celine Dion's My Heart Will Go On rang out through the airwaves on constant repeat. Seinfeld ended and Dawson's Creek began. The internet was on the rise, but social media hadn't yet taken control. The young generations had an air of safety and innocence that hadn't yet been shattered. This was a pre-Facebook, pre-9/11, pre-C-19 world. Bill Clinton was president of the USA, and on November the 3rd, 1998, it was election day. The Clifton family, made up of Maddie and Jesse, aged 8 and 11, and their parents Steve and Sheila, lived in Jacksonville, Florida, USA. After attending school that day, Maddie went straight home, arriving there at around 4:30 p.m. Her father Steve was at work and her mother Sheila was still out voting. There was an agreement that she wouldn't go out to play without her parents home to supervise her. So instead, Maddie practiced playing piano, but was eager to get out in the sunshine and play with the neighbourhood kids. Mother Sheila then arrived back from the polling station, and Maddie ran straight outside to play. Finally free. There was now only a small window of free time before dinner, so she had to make the most of it. Sister Jessie said that Maddie was a lover of underdogs. She would root for the bad guy or scary characters on TV shows. And she did this because she felt sorry for them. She didn't feel that anyone, man or monster, should feel isolated or alone. This meant that she wouldn't leave out any of the kids in the neighbourhood, no matter how dark or different they appeared to be. Children of all ages played in the street and played together. Maddie went to her 16-year-old neighbour's yard that afternoon to practice her golf swing. There she spent some time hitting balls down the street. When she ran out of balls, she left a friend's house to go and collect more balls from her own yard. The small window of playtime that Maddie had before dinner ran out, and at 6:20 p.m, Mother Sheila called Maddie and Jessie inside to eat. Jessie turned up, but Maddie didn't. Sheila went from neighbour to neighbour asking them if Maddie was there. Over the span of 15 minutes, panic slowly built up as each person she asked didn't know where Maddie was. She wasn't in the street, she wasn't in their houses, nor in anyone's yard. The neighbours now all poured into the street. The search for Maddie was on. At 6:33 p.m, Sheila made a phone call to 911 and reported Maddie officially missing.
Jacksonville 911.
Yes, sir. Hi. This is. I went out to play this afternoon. I thought she was with her, and now she's missing.
How old is she?
She's 8 years old.
Where was she playing at around the house?
Right around the house here.
Is she a white female or a black
Yes,
female?
she's a white female.
What did she have on when she left?
She had on a red T-shirt. And Mama, did she have on jeans? No, I've been upstairs, Mama. I have searched.
Ma'am?
Yes.
Blue jeans?
Mama, did she have on blue jeans? No. What'd she have on? What kind of shorts?
Pair of shorts?
She had on a pair of shorts and a red T-shirt.
She blonde hair, black hair?
No, she's got reddish-brown hair. It's actually a brown with an auburn tint to it.
What's her name?
It's short. Her name is Maddie. She goes, it's Madeline.
What's her last name?
Clifton, C-L-I-F as in Frank, T-O-N.
When's the last time anybody saw her?
Mama, what time did I come home from voting? About 5:30?
About
4:30 to 5 o'clock. About 5:30 was the last time we saw her. And I was letting the kids play out here for a little while, and then she disappeared, and nobody knows where she's at.
She have any friends nearby? Did you go check?
I got every neighbor out here right now.
Okay, the police will be there shortly, ma'am. You keep looking, okay?
Okay, do you know where I am? I mean, I'm at the corner of Fleetwood and Stephen is right there.
What is it?
My husband just came home. And, hold on just a moment. Honey, Maddie is gone. No. Okay, my husband just pulled up, but she's not with him, of course.
Okay, the police are going to be there shortly, ma'am, okay?
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Over the next 7 days, hundreds of volunteers joined the search effort to find Maddie. Thousands of posters were distributed. Maddie's parents made TV appeals for information. There was widespread media coverage of the disappearance. This was just one of those situations.
And we're not giving up. This is just the beginning. We are not giving up on finding Maddie. Maddie is out there and she's ready to come home.
Everyone wanted to bring Maddie home. The activity in the close-knit community was non-stop. Police and the media descended into the lives of the Cliftons. The search was so intense that National Guard soldiers were requested to search the sewer system for the missing girl, to no avail. Police questioned neighbours, some of whom were questioned more than once in the days that followed. They searched houses to make sure that Maddie really wasn't just hiding or being kept against her will close to home. One home that they searched was the Phillips household. All of the family members were interviewed. The family were made up of mother Melissa, known as Missy, father Steve, and son Josh or Joshua.
You see 180 pounds of love here.
Josh was born on March 17, 1984 in Allentown, Pennsylvania. He had half-brothers that lived in Pennsylvania, but the decision was made to split up the family and move to Florida. He was known by Maddie's family and was friends with Maddie and Jesse. Everyone knew him as friendly but quiet. Police spoke to 14-year-old Josh as he was sat on his bed, but police found nothing during their search. Both Josh and Missy both claimed to live in fear of Steve, saying he was an alcoholic and a drug addict and could get physical with them. Steve was strict with Josh in some very particular ways. He had certain rules that he would enforce. He told Josh that he must not have other children in the house unless he was there to supervise. In particular, he forbid Josh from having girls that were younger than him in the house. It wasn't 100% clear why he enforced this rule so heavily. Even mother Missy didn't understand it. On November the 10th, 1 week into the disappearance, Maddie's parents were being interviewed for a national TV news show.
Under the sea, this one touched me really. If I had a little submarine, I'd go beneath the sea. I'd scout around to find you and I'd hold you next to me.
The Cliftons found solace in, of all things, a children's book. A book entitled I Promise I'll Find You. A book given to them by a complete stranger.
It's just got so much in it, and at the very end it says, and if I had no other way, I'd walk or crawl or run. I'd search to the very ends of the earth for you, my precious one.
At the same time, Missy Phillips noticed something strange in her home. Emanating from Josh's room was a strange liquid stain on the carpet. Josh did have a waterbed, so she feared it was leaking. Missy entered Josh's room. In it, she noticed multiple air fresheners. Incense sticks had recently been burned, but an odd smell was powerful enough to push its way to the forefront and lead Missy to investigate further. She came racing out of the house and across the street screaming for the police. Maddie's parents had now finished their TV interview. Missy Phillips screamed that she had found Maddie's body, discovered inside the waterbed frame belonging to 14-year-old son, Josh. Josh was attending class when Maddie's body was discovered. Police descended on the school and he was arrested in his classroom. He admitted to ending Maddie.
Good afternoon. I'm Bruce Hamilton, live in the Lakewood section of Jacksonville, where just about 7.5 hours ago, a gruesome discovery was made. Little 8-year-old Maddie Clifton's body was found in a house that, ironically, is diagonally across from hers. If you've been following the story, as all of the First Coast has, it began unfolding last Tuesday evening at about 5:50 when Maddie disappeared. And until this morning, when Misty Phillips came out of her house at 7:28 a.m. and flagged down Officer Don Teeton, who was on routine surveillance here in this neighborhood, a surveillance that's been posted ever since Maddie disappeared, it was only then that we found out what happened. He walked into the house and he discovered the little girl's lifeless body. It had been stuffed inside a waterbed. Now, this begs the question, why didn't police find it before? Because they'd been in that house 3 times, and Sheriff Nat Glover talked about that. He said, we don't go tearing open furniture during the course of an investigation, and it's just not a logical place that we would have looked. Now, there is a 14-year-old boy, Misty's son, Josh, who is being questioned at this hour at police headquarters downtown. Last we heard, he's not been officially charged. The news conference getting underway downtown. ABC 25's Susan Biggers is there with the latest. Susan.
Yes, Bruce, Sheriff Nat Glover just walked into the room. He's making his way to the podium. We suspect at this point we are going to learn more about the investigation and about this 14-year-old boy who is in police custody. He has been interrogated for the better part of the morning. Police want to know a lot from him. Primary question is, why is little Maddie Clifton dead? Let's listen now as Sheriff Glover begins this news conference.
Joshua lived at that address with his parents, father, Steve Phillips, and his mother, Melissa Phillips. He has been charged with murder, and he has confessed to the crime.
Well, Bruce, we just got a copy of the actual arrest report and the mugshot of 14-year-old Joshua Phillips. You can take a look there. Sheriff Nat Glover tells me that this kid has not been in trouble with police before. In fact, we spoke with Joshua's middle school principal at DuPont Middle School, and that principal told us that this kid is remembered as a good kid. He was not in trouble at school.
But how did all this come to be? On November the 3rd, Maddie went outdoors to play. Witnesses confirmed that they saw her playing. Maddie, who lived across the street from Josh, knocked on his door and invited him to play baseball outside in the yard. Maddie, the fan of the underdog and not wanting anyone to be excluded, wanted to involve the quiet 14-year-old. Despite the fact that he was forbidden by his father from having friends over, especially younger girls, Josh agreed. Josh claimed that he then accidentally hit a ball into Maddie's eye, causing her to bleed, cry and scream. Knowing his father Steve would soon return home and anticipating his reaction, Josh said that he froze in fear. Maddie was then dragged into Josh's home, who said that as he did so, Maddie's clothing on the lower half of her body came off. However, this has since been disproven by the police. Maddie wouldn't stop screaming. She was hurt and scared, so Josh escalated the situation by grabbing a baseball bat and striking her repeatedly, an attempt to silence her. Believing this was the end, he put Maddie under the mattress of his waterbed. He then threw the baseball bat down behind his dresser. Father Steve then arrived home and he and Josh spoke for a while. When Josh returned to his room, he noticed that Maddie was still breathing and groaning, trapped under the mattress. He pulled the mattress off her and struck her multiple times with a sharp object. Believing that this time he had finished the job, he then replaced the mattress once more. Witnesses claimed that the first night that Maddie was reported missing, Josh appeared to have just gotten out of the shower, a possible attempt to hide evidence on his body. In the following days, Josh, knowing that the mission was hopeless, then took part in the searches for Maddie. He saw the results of his actions escalating around him. For 7 days following Maddie's disappearance, Josh slept on that waterbed, on top of Maddie, until Missy discovered her. During this time, he added the air fresheners and incense sticks to his room to hide the building odour. Police then questioned him as he was seated on his bed. They were just feet away from cracking the case, but failed. On November the 10th, when Missy made the tragic discovery, police once more entered Josh's room. As soon as they opened the door, they smelled something foul. When they peered inside, they discovered Joshua's waterbed had 2 tiny feet peeking out of the bottom, wearing white socks. Joshua was accused of murder in the first degree. Due to the awful nature of the act, it was decided that he would be tried as an adult despite his age. At the trial, the detectives who worked on the case gave testimony. Earlier I said that Josh believed he had ended Maddie before putting her under the mattress for the second time. Detectives revealed to the court that she was actually still alive at this time. Her hand was found to be desperately grasped onto a bracket on the inside of the bed. It was also revealed to the court that Maddie may not have been his preferred victim. Her sister Jessie had previously discussed intimate things with Josh, and in his room police found a photo of her that he stole from the Clifton household. Josh said that he did what he did out of the fear of his father knowing he had a young girl in the house. This has led me to speculate if Steve either had a gut feeling or even witnessed something in Josh that scared him. After all, look what happened. After 2 hours of deliberation, the jury found Joshua guilty of first-degree murder. He received a life sentence without the possibility of parole.
To Joshua Phillips, we have but one thing to say. How dare you? How dare you take Maddie from us for no reason? She was your friend, and you brutally murdered her.
He later appealed his sentence, but failed. He is currently destined to never see freedom again. What do you think Josh's long-term plan was here? Do you think the punishment fits the crime? Let me know down in the comments. Join the Dark Case family by hitting subscribe now and turning on notifications. Like the video to boost the signal with this case. Thank you to all my patrons: Rachel David, Kathy Green, David James, Addy Alexander, Karen Jones, El Palmieri, James Harrington, Shane Woodward, Faster River, Stacey Krogerus, Summer Chambers, Mona Corona, Cepheid Variable, Anthony Watson, and Jeremy Sebranek. Be careful out there, and I'll see you soon.